Hi everybody, Mark here with Couch to Camino 2026, and this week we're going to talk about shoes. That's right, it's the internet, so eventually everybody wants to talk about your feet. I don't make the rules. I apologize again, I was a little late. Remember when I said, like my fourth video or so, about all the things you need to take care of now? Yeah, I broke a tooth. I ended up getting a crown on Thursday, so I was going to make a video Thursday, but I was drooling like a basset hound when I tried to talk, so I figured I'd wait a little bit, then got a little bit busy around here. You may hear some noise. That's guys running around with skid loaders putting in the gravel for my new house. So, hopefully you won't hear it, but if you do, sorry. So, we're at day 165, 165 days from now. I leave for my sixth time on the Camino de Santiago. I'm very excited. As I threatened last week, I actually packed my backpack. It's ready to. As soon as this weather breaks, it's still a little weird here. As soon as the weather breaks, I'm going to get back out there and start walking, and I'm going to try out this gimbal system I have to see if I can do a walk and talk with you guys. We'll see what happens. As always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If you want to have a more in-depth conversation, please feel free to email me at askmeacaminoquestion@gmail.com, and I will get back to you. Lots of new subscribers. For some reason, our numbers keep going up every week. If you're new here, all of these videos are interrelated. I'm not a professional. I'm making this up. I have a little bit of stuff I write down every week, but for the most part, I'm winging this. All of these videos are interconnected, and if I make mistakes, I correct them as we go. So if you're new here, please go back and watch some of the older stuff. It'll all make sense. If you're an experienced hiker or runner or outdoors person, we're going to go into more detail than you probably need this week about footwear. So feel free just to listen to the big comments. If you think I've really missed anything, definitely chime in down below, because I'm not the expert of everything. I just have some experience, and if we can crowdsource a little bit of knowledge, that's even a better thing. So the TLDL for this week, the too long didn't listen, is going to be a little long, but we'll see how it goes. Number one, let's start with what your choices might be. So, this is a mid-height, waterproof hiking boot. This is the perfect boot for your Camino de Santiago. No question. This is a mid-rise, waterproof trail running boot. It's the perfect boot for your Camino de Santiago. No question about it. This is a low-rise hiking shoe. It's ventilated. It's the perfect shoe for your Camino de Santiago. No question about it. This is this is ventilated too. This is a ventilated low-rise trail running shoe. This is the perfect shoe for your Camino de Santiago. No question about it. This is a Keen water sandal. Without a doubt, this is the best sandally thing you can wear on your Camino de Santiago. No doubt about it. Do you see a pattern there? I cannot tell you what the very best footwear for you is going to be on the Camino. Neither can anybody else on the internet. Anybody that is telling you that on the internet in their videos or in blog posts or in the forums or Facebook, no. It's perfectly, it seems reasonable to me that you would recommend brands, but to say you need to have a certain type of footwear, it all depends on your personal architecture. And it's not just this. Think of your footwear. What does it do? What's the purpose of wearing this when we're on Camino? It's to protect our feet from the cold hard ground or the hot hard ground or the sharp, muddy, horrible Spanish gravel ground. It is to keep us from getting blisters, and it's to keep our feet as dry and protected as possible, be it in the rain, be it in the severe heat, getting that sweat vapor out. So its job is essentially the outer casing of our footwear system. What's the base layer? It could be something like this: a foot glide, then a sock, then our footwear. Think of how everything works together. And when you go to select your footwear, you're going to want to take all these things with you. We'll talk more about that down in the ramble. But the first point of the TLDL is footwear is a system. It's the skin prep. It's the sock. Maybe it's 2 socks at once. Maybe it's a big floofy sock. Lots of options. You're going to need to spend some time, and this is point 2. I'm sorry, this is, mix this up, we'll call it point 2. It's really point 3, but we'll call it point 2. You're going to need to start figuring this out now. If you've not done any running, you've not done any hiking, you've not done any serious long range outdoor sort of activity, you need to start working on this now. Consider carefully your feet. If you think back to all your experiences, are you prone to blisters or not? Are you prone to plantar fasciitis or not? Do you have weird architecture where you've got a toe that sticks up, or toes that cross, or toes that stick out? You need to make sure you can find some sort of shoe, part of the outer part of your footwear system, that's going to kind of help you deal with those issues. And again, we'll talk about options down in the ramble. Number 2, we'll back this up. So now it's number 3. It was number 2, now it's number 3. You're going to need more than one pair of shoes, probably. And the reason I say that is you're going to need something to wear on your off hours. Most albergues, when you show up, they do not want your nasty, sweaty, dirty, muddy, sheep and cow poop covered shoes or boots in the albergues. Most of them are going to have boot rooms. You're going to be asked to remove your outer cover, your shoes, boots, and put on something else to get checked in and walk up to your room. I really like something that I can use that's comfortable for walking around town, walking down to the shops, and also a simple water sandal like this Keen works for walking to the shower. Instead of carrying a pair of flip-flops and extra weight, I find just having something that I can use for just about everything works just fine. There's lots of versions of this. Look around, you're going to find something. Just make sure it's light enough that you can easily carry it in your pack. I see a lot of these recovery slides, Crocs. If you're into that, yeah, they work just fine. So when we were going through the list of stuff, we went through, this is point number 4-ish. Do you need a Gore-Tex or do you need a Ventilated? If you're going in the summer, say May through end of September, I would probably opt for a vintage shoe. That's just me. Over the winter times, my feet don't sweat a lot, so I don't have a whole lot of issues with trapped water vapor. I would go with a Gore-Tex or a water-resistant, waterproof shoe throughout the winter time, say October through end of April. There is a lot of rain, your feet are going to get wet, and that's kind of your enemy. So if you can have one layer that's going to help prevent that, it doesn't hurt. Style, if you need either a low or a high, a boot or a shoe, that all depends on you. There's the Camino is not, there's nowhere on it that's so technical that you need a big old mountaineering boot. It just doesn't happen. You're going to be walking mostly on groomed gravel, some blacktop, but just, I'm going to say like 80% of it is groomed gravel trail. So you really don't need a technical shoe. It is nice to have the high tops and the strangely in the drier weather, because you kick up dust and you kick up sand, and you can get gravel bits into the shoes. So having a low shoe, you can get a little more. But if you don't have serious ankle issues and need that extra support of a higher topped boot, consider a shoe. You've got plenty of time. We got 6-7 months. Kind of start working out what might work for you now as you start doing a few walks here and there. See what you can kind of work out for yourself. If this is one of those things, if you're an experienced runner, experienced hiker, I'm going to lose you here, but I'm going to let the new folks kind of in on this. Shoes and boots, usually, you'll see your size. Hey, I wear a size 12, average width, whatever. When you start getting into more high-tech boots and shoes, you're going to hear things like stack and drop. Stack, drop. Stack is how gushy are these shoes? How much cushion is in this? You've seen like Hokas. Hokas are famous for having a big old thick sole. Unfortunately, with my mom, I spent a lot of time in hospitals lately, and wow, the nurses love Hokas because they've got that huge, deep stack. And you'll see them measured in millimeter usually. Like these are Ultra Lone Peak 4.5s or something. They've got about a 28 millimeter stack. That means that's the amount of gush between the insole or the outer soles, the midsole, all of that good stuff. The other thing you're going to see referenced is drop. Drop is the angle from the heel to the toe. Is it flat, or is there an incline? Or is it a high-heeled shoe and you probably don't want to wear that? Things like these Ultras, these are called zero drop. They are perfectly flat. I've worn these on 2 Caminos, so they're a little curled. So supposedly a zero drop shoe helps you stretch your Achilles tendon a little bit. I haven't found it really makes that much of a difference. I love these because they weigh nothing. They're great. So size, numerical, 12, whatever. Stack, how much comfort, how much gush. Drop, how much of a heel to toe do they have? And again, you're going to need to do some experimenting and find something that's going to work really well for you. Size insoles. These shoes have no insoles. So all shoes now come obviously with an insole that you could leave in or take out. It's completely up to you whether you do that. These boots that I wore in 2022, I just used the stock Ultra insoles. They were fine. Most of the time I get, wow, these are chewed up. I get Dr. Scholl's, because they're available in Spain. And most of the time when I'm on Camino, I will put in a new pair of Dr. Scholl's insoles just before I leave. And in Lyon, which I consider sort of a little past halfway point. That way I can refresh the insoles, because being a big guy, I tend to crush them down. When we talked about stack, insoles can add a few millimeters of stack and make them a lot more comfortable. And again, there are the ones that come in the shoes, there's over-the-counters like Dr. Scholl's, and there are very expensive custom ones. Man, if you don't need expensive custom ones, don't spend $200-300 on those things. See if there's an over-the-counter thing from Dr. Scholl's that might work for you. Socks. Again, socks are going to be a personal thing. I use only merino wool. Even here on the farm working when it's 100-something degrees and I'm wandering around in my work boots or my work shoes, whatever, I only wear merino wool. They wick sweat, they control humidity, they control vapor, moisture, everything. They work really well. And now you can get them very inexpensively on Amazon or your big box stores. You don't need to spend a lot on them. You might want to experiment with different thicknesses. And we'll talk about that in the ramble. Although this TLDL is a little bit of a ramble. So dry feet, you got to keep your feet dry. If you're walking and you get hit in the rain, if you have room, You're going to want to take extra socks, maybe an extra pair, maybe 3 pairs, like 1 to wear and 2 in your backpack. If your feet are getting wet, stop and change out of those wet socks as often as you can, even if it means just wringing them out, getting them back on your feet. Let your feet dry out. That leads to blisters faster than just about anything else. Your other option, even with a Gore-Tex shoe or boot, is something like a Gore-Tex bootie. These are from Rocky. These used to be so inexpensive. I bought these. I've literally had this pair for about 25 years. I've worn them hunting and camping and on every Camino, and I take them on vacation with me even. They're about 50, 60 bucks now if you can find them on Amazon, but they are the best thing I've ever found for keeping my feet dry. I wear a light liner sock under it, put one of those bad boys on, I'm good to go. So do everything you can to keep your feet dry. By the way, on Amazon, you're going to see, they call like golfing socks, waterproof golfing socks. My buddy Kelly bought a pair of those. They wet out and they're just soggy messes within a half hour. So they are not meant for serious water time, whatever, serious rains and such. So think about something like this, a Gore-Tex bootie. These have saved my feet. I cannot tell you how many times. And I've literally, between hunting and hiking and everything else I do, and camping, I've quite literally worn these hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of times. And with one exception, I've never had them fail. And we'll talk about that in the ramble. So the very last thing for the TLDL, if you feel a hot spot, if you're walking and you feel a little, hey, there's a little something back here. So I'm feeling some friction and it's not just my sock sliding around doing its thing. Something's not right. Stop, take your shoe off, take your sock off, figure out what's going on. If it means you need to slap a piece of Coban on there, if you need to slap a Hello Kitty Band-Aid on there, do it. Don't wait. The more you ignore a hot spot, the worse it's going to get. So that's the TLDL. The ramble's going to get a little involved here as we're going to walk over some stuff. Get it? Shoes, walk. We'll go through this a little deeper. So, yeah, footwear is a system. It's not as simple as I found a good shoe, because a really good shoe with the wrong sock, a really good shoe when it's soaking wet, it's not going to do you any good. We have to have a cohesive system that works together and does what it's supposed to do. So, for those of you who usually leave about now, and I know there's a lot of you who do because YouTube's lets me know, thanks for coming along, and we'll see you next week. For everybody else, for the ramble, what's our drink this week? It's Diet Coke, because I've been busy as heck. It's just, what is it, 1:30? Yeah, I haven't had time to do anything, put anything together today. I'm looking for a very particular bottle of wine that I thought I had around here that I want to share with you guys. When I run to Kansas City in the next day or two, I may stop and see if I can find a bottle of it. It's a very, very rare wine to find in the United States. But I know of one place that I've gotten it before a couple of years ago, before our 2022 trip. So let me see if I can find it. So this week it's Diet Coke because it's all over Spain. Yay. Okay. So all of the shoes I showed you before, I have walked the Camino in all of these. Not this exact boot, but one like it. The rest of these I literally have walked on the Camino in. One of my little rituals, and I just got them this week, is every time I'm going on Camino, about 6 months out, I buy a brand new pair of Keens, like these. And I put them in a shoe carrier in my backpack, and I put them on my backpack, and I will not put them on my feet until I get to Spain. So I have a brand new pair of Keens that are sitting in there in my backpack, ready to go, and I will not put them on my feet till I arrive in Spain in on March 30th or whatever. So that's just a fun little thing I do. Anyway, and yes, these are my 2024 Spain Keens. So let's talk about why we're looking at this as a footwear system, not just individual bits. So why do you get blisters? Let's start with blisters, and we'll work to protection and such. You get blisters because you get a shear surface. You get two surfaces rubbing against each other, one of them being fairly stiff or whatever, the other being your skin. And after a while, your skin doesn't really enjoy that. So it'll start sloughing a little bit, and it produces liquid under there. And you get that little bubble. It's just a protection mechanism. So how do we avoid that? Either we have shoes that are so tightly made that our feet don't move in them at all, which is nearly impossible, or we try to mitigate those shear surfaces, those multiple layers of rubbing against our skin to try to avoid that. I'm going to show you what I do, and I'm not saying anybody who gets blisters has done something wrong. It's just I've had experience where I worked heavy construction at one point in my life. I was working at a gold mine in Elko, Nevada, working high iron, working 13 stories up on loose bolted iron in the desert. It was pretty cool. I got a brand new pair of steel-toed boots right around Christmas that year, and got them, wore them. They just chewed my feet up to the point where, and I was trying to ignore it that day. Just trying to do my job and get on with life. And literally one of my foremen saw my feet. I was bleeding through the leather of the boot. And he's like, whoa, dude. Made me take my boots off. I went down he made me go. He took me to the medic shed. And I ended up having to go to the hospital because I got an infection a couple days later. And I was off my feet for about a week and a half. And ever since then, it's been my life goal never to get a blister again. That really impacted me very strongly. So what do I do now? I start with something like a foot glide. This stuff, you can buy these wee little, you can actually buy much smaller containers, but one of these lasts me about 2 Caminos. I like it better than Vaseline because I've used Vaseline in the past, and I find Vaseline actually overhydrates my skin and strangely makes me more prone to blisters than a drier product like Foot Glide. And what I'll do is, in the morning, I'm sitting on the edge of my bunk bed after I do my ankle rotations and get everything loosened up there. If this is my feet, my toesies, I will put a stripe across the top of my foot, top of my toes, around my heel, and on the ball of my foot. That's it. And this stuff is not greasy. I mean, I can still, even with this stuff on my skin, I can feel it, but there's still enough texture that it's not super slippery. This stuff lasts all day long. I can put it on, you can put it on first thing in the morning. It's going to last you 8-10 hours of walking, no problem, even when you're sweating a lot when it's hot. Over that, on Camino, I always wear a merino wool liner sock. These are from Smart Wool. There's lots of brands of liner socks, but you want an ultra thin, ultra lightweight liner sock. So, you know, the shear surfaces we were talking about, we've added a chemical, we've added a lubricant layer now that's in between those two layers, the shoe and our skin, that's helping. Now we have a second layer. We've got the wool that's acting between those. We have 2 points where the shear surfaces aren't colliding. Over this guy, in summertime, let's just say the warmer half of the year, I'll wear a thicker merino wool hiking sock. So this first, this over, well, this first, then this over. We now have multiple shear layers that are protecting our skin from the boot or the shoe. This has not failed me yet. There's one time I did get a piece of gravel. I mentioned it before. Got a piece of gravel and I ignored it, and it gave me a little blister about that big on my heel. I slapped a Hello Kitty Band-Aid on it and got on with my day, so not a big deal. The other choice in sock I may make is during the winter, the colder months, and I may take these when I go in April. 2018, I wore socks like this in April and May, and oh, so nice. These are a merino wool higher. I mean, they're not like a tube sock, but slightly higher merino wool hiking sock that have crazy fluffy insides. And remember when we talked in the TLDL, we talked about stack. Say you have a shoe with a 30 millimeter stack, which is pretty nice. That's going to be pretty gushy. You get some Dr. Scholl's insoles. You add a couple of millimeters. Maybe it's as much as 3 or 4 millimeters on the heel and the instep. A little less, maybe a millimeter everywhere else. These socks, I got geeky and measured. That's 2 millimeters of floof. So we've gone from 30 to 32 to 34. Maybe we're up to 36. Just a good pair of socks, combined with our liner sock. We're adding more gush, and you can feel, you get a good pair of these merino wool socks with the floofy loops, really good. I'm not going to say what brand these are. I'm not going to make recommendations, because honestly, I get the cheapest ones I can on Amazon that come out of China. I've never spent more than, I think these are $12 for 3 pairs of the darn things. And if they wear out, I just throw them away when I get home. So again, it's a footwear system, skin treatment, liner sock, final sock. If it's going to be rainy, like I talked about in the TLDL, a Gore-Tex bootie. And usually with the Gore-Tex bootie, I just wear a liner sock and then this, because this is, I mean, there's a lot of material there. It kind of bags around your foot a little bit. So, yeah, I usually don't need extra socks under that, just the one pair. These things have been just lifesavers on so many Caminos. The one time I did get water in these was in 2022 outside of Pamplona. We were getting ready to cross the bridge, I think the one right there by the river outside the fortifications when you're walking in from Zubiri, Santa Maria or whatever the bridge is. We're about 6 blocks away from that, and we could see a storm come over Pamplona, over the walls, and this wall of water falling from the sky that looked like a bad special effect, and we could see it coming at us. And we had about 90 seconds to drop our backpacks, put on our rain gear, get our backpacks back on, and get ready for that storm. And by the time we were crossing the streets or crossing the neighborhood over by the bridge to cross into Pamplona and finally get to our albergue, there was water this deep in the gutters and such, and stupidly we decided to go ahead and try to cross, and man, water just came over the top of these things and soaked everything. But I was only like 200 yards from the albergue, so it wasn't that big a deal. But other than that, these things, over the course, I will admit, over the course of like a 12-hour day of rain, they may start to wet out a little bit, meaning the water will go through the Gore-Tex a tiny bit, but much better than not. I've never once on a rainy day had to stop and deal with these Gore-Tex booties and change my socks out. Ever. It's just never come up. And they're cool enough and comfortable enough that I'll put them on if it is a chance of rain and I don't want to have to stop and put them on later. I'll just throw them on. They're super comfortable. They breathe. They're great. I wish they were still like $29 because they're expensive now. So the last thing you can kind of add to this system is a gaiter. And I didn't talk about that in the TLDL because honestly, those guys leave so early. They're quitters. You know, I'll save the secret stuff for you guys that kind of wait because you're special. So these are the gaiters that go with my Ultra. These or these. Ultra, these are proprietary, which is kind of annoying. But so what these do is these clip under the front little lace there. They cover the shoe. Your leg goes through there. You pull them down and basically does that. This is not a waterproof covering. This is just a great way to keep gravel and dirt from getting in your shoe. Because I guarantee if you're wearing a shoe, you're going to be chucking gravel and sand and stuff out of your shoes multiple times a day, particularly if you're there during the dry season, because man, those roads are loose and get a pilgrims walking on them, the gravel gets all kicked up, and eventually you're going to get stuff in there. These are a fairly easy way to keep that from happening. The most famous brand really is a brand called Dirty Girl Gaiters. I think you can find them on Amazon now. It used to be kind of a hiking shop exclusive thing, but I'm pretty sure you can get them on Amazon. I've had pretty good luck with these. The only time I don't use them is if it's right after a rain, when the stuff doesn't kick up as much, when the water kind of glues down the pack of the gravel. I don't worry about it. Other than that, they're a good addition. I wish I could wear them with other styles of shoes and boots, but because of their hook and Velcro thing, you really can't, which is shame on you, Ultra. Make a universal gaiter to go with your superb shoes. I'm just kind of banging around here. We went through styles and such. Really, the whole Gore-Tex are not, if you're going in winter, consider a waterproof or a water-resistant shoe. You're going to be a lot happier. Even wearing Gore-Tex socks or whatever, consider really doing that. Now, if you're really spicy, I've shown this picture before, but your sandals, I know somebody that crossed from Valcarlos to Roncesvalles and probably went further wearing a pair of sandals and shopping bags on her feet. Look, there's a picture. That's right, Haley. Talking about you. She was traveling with her mom. They were absolutely awesome people to hang out with. We had a ball watching her being corrected by some rather nice Australian guys, because Haley swore like a longshoreman, and the Australian ex-cops were not thrilled with that, so they kept trying to get her to stop swearing, and it just got worse and worse. It was absolutely hysterical. It was one of my favorite nights on that 2018 Camino. So anyway, with the sandal, I tend to buy a color of sandal that's dark so that I can sneakily wear a pair of my merino socks under it, and it doesn't look as weird. Kind of an old guy thing, but you know, that's me. I've also I took these a pair of these in 2020 when I was in Spain in the wintertime, and I walked around Burgos with a pair of my rain pants on and these Gore-Tex socks and a pair of sandals, and it worked just fine. And it was snowing and raining, and I still was able to walk around without any problems. So to kind of wrap up the ramble a little bit, I know you probably wanted me to say, hey, this is the best shoe or boot. You should be wearing boots. You should be wearing shoes. You should be wearing a sandal. You need to have this. You need to have that. I can't tell you that. You're going to have to work it out for yourself. And I know that seems like a cop-out. And like I said, I've got all of these. I still have no clue what I'm going to wear yet. It's just whatever's going to strike my fancy when I get ready to walk out the door, I'll end up taking. And I'll kind of look at the weather, too, a little bit to see if there's a best option. But you're going to have to take the next couple of months. If you have any challenging foot issues, like I mentioned back in the TLDL, if you've got foot architecture where You've got cross toes, a toe knuckle that sticks out. You got a toe that sticks out. Consider looking into the trail running shoes and boots. Ultra are the one I've been using. I really like Ultras. There's other great options, and places like REI, Shields might be able to help you. If you have a good dedicated running store, if you're near a major city, almost every major city is going to have a dedicated running store. Go there, ask them about trail running shoes. One of the big differences is particularly Ultra kind of pioneered this, and it's the reason I wear them is if you look at a traditional hiking shoe, we're all kind of used to that narrow toe. From the vamp, as it gets down into where the ball of your foot is, they narrow into your toe. So you've got this toe box that's fairly narrow. Ultra pioneered the wide toe box. If you look at the difference between these two, the Ultra here, I'm going to put this guy down. The Ultra, you've got, instead of it coming from the vamp to the ball of the foot and narrowing in dramatically, they actually flare out and then come up around, and they give you all this room for your toes. Keep blocking the camera. All your toes, your socks, everything. There are multiple companies that make these. Ultra is just the kind of the easiest to find. These are great if you've got those little issues, particularly if you've got a little piggy toe that wants to stick out. You're going to have extra room for that. This extra room actually kind of lends itself to if you have toes that are crossed or knuckled or up, you've got extra construction workers. You've got extra room in these because they cut them more generously, because they know these are not, your average running shoe. Even if you're buying a running shoe to run a marathon, I mean, my marathon time is not going to be 2-3 hours or whatever. My best marathon time, particularly now, is probably 7 to 10 business days with a tailwind if I'm lucky. They're not really made, those running shoes are not made to be wearing on your feet 8 to 10 hours a day for 30 days, in a row. They're made for quick little runs. Then you go home and you put on your regular stuff. These guys, these are made for that. It's essentially a running shoe or a lightweight, comfortable shoe that's made to put on and get out there and walk. And people walk the Appalachian Trail in these. They'll put 2,800 to 3,000 miles on these things. And most of them have pretty good luck. So if you've got any funky foot architecture, look for something in the trail running or the trail shoe community. And they're ultra lightweight. I can't remember what the old saying is. It's something like a pound on the foot equals 5 pounds in the backpack or something like that. And man, I have seen there's a huge difference between wearing a heavy boot and a super lightweight trail runner. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. So here's your homework. If you have any weird foot issues or minor foot issues, including any things like, are you prone to an ingrown nail that you need to deal with for yourself every once in a while? Go to a podiatrist, get that dealt with. I long ago had a nail that was a problem, and I had the podiatrist go in and clip it all the way up under the nail bed or the quick where it starts. Put a chemical in there to kill it out, and it's never grown back. So I never get ingrown toenails in that spot anymore. It's worth going to the podiatrist, getting that figured out now. Once you do, then start looking at your shoe. Start pondering what your selection might be. Go ahead and get yourself, if you choose to do the multiple sock thing that I do, get yourself a pair of liner socks. Get yourself a pair of mid-weight hiking socks. Take those with you. If you're going to get a pair of the waterproof booties, take all of this with you. At the end of the day, go to the shoe store, boot store, wherever you're going to go, REI, Shields, whatever, and try on those boots. Do not do it in the morning. Your feet swell. By the end of the day, it can make I think it's a half a size up to a size, depending on how big you are. It makes a difference. You want to try those shoes on when your feet are at their largest, and you want to try them on with all of your stuff. And having them a little looser is much better than having them a little tighter, even if with all this insurance we have. So, that's about it for the footwear. We'll talk more about this as we refine things, as I think of things as we go throughout the spring, early winter and spring when we're doing training. We'll talk about what's working, what's not, and kind of you'll be part of the decision making. Well, you'll be witness to the decision making process of me trying to figure out what I'm going to wear this time. I'm leaning towards these. I love these so much. It's like I'm just not wearing shoes. I love them. Oh, I'm not a professional. I completely forgot about this in the TLDL. So don't tell any of them. This is between you and me. So at the end of the day, when you get done, you put your boots in the boot room. Go up, get yourself taken care of, get your shower, get your laundry squared away, do whatever you need to do. When you get done, go get into your backpack. Pull out that piece of terry cloth. Take a little piece of cloth, make a little 4x4, 8x8. Get it wet, go down and wipe down your shoes. Pull your insoles out. Take your shoes outside, pull your insoles out, get all the stuff out from them. Get your shoes as clean as you can every day. The reason is your shoes are going to absorb, or a bunch of dust and dirt is going to get attached to them, and your shoes they're moving, they're flexing. And the more dirt and sand and rock particles you get in there, that's abrading the fabric. It actually decreases the life of your shoes dramatically. If they're a waterproof shoe, it can actually mess with that a little bit. So just a quick wipe down. It takes 5-10 minutes just to do proper footwear care. Your shoes are going to be more comfortable. They're going to last longer. I'm guesstimating looking at the soles on these because I wear these to the gym too. I'm guessing I have about 1,000 miles on these, and I'll put new Dr. Scholl's in here, and I'm guessing I can easily get another 1,000 out of them. I don't run in them, so they're not taking hard impact. So anyway, yeah, try to keep your stuff as clean as possible. It's really going to make your footwear last longer, and you may be able to wear this stuff after you get home. Okay, so that's it for the ramble, and that really was a ramble. So, favorite place this week. In Navarrete, up by the cathedral, there is a little plaza, little tiny thing, kind of adorable. There's a stage there and some other stuff. At the top of the plaza, you're going to see a big sort of cream-colored building, and there's going to be a big sign that says Bar des Portales. Bar des Portales. That's not actually the name of the bar. It just means sports bar, which I find hysterically funny because what we're talking about is not a sports bar. As you walk up, it's on the right hand door. They have lots of tables outside. When you go inside, there's 3 tables, I think, maybe 4 in the little bar area where the food is. So this place is run by, I believe, a mom and dad, their son, maybe a few friends, and I think grandma's in the back as well. Unfortunately, my Spanish isn't good enough, and their English is to really get through it. But this little bar in a small town like Navarrete, it has some of the best old school Spanish bar food I've seen anywhere in Spain. I'll put some pictures up. They made us a special lunch, the four of us, when we were there in 2022. That's what it looked like. It was a giant clay pot full of pork ribs, sheep ribs, potatoes, onions, garlic, this amazing sauce. Came with a giant basket of bread, and they kept bringing us bread and salad and bottles of wine. If you're into that, one of my best meals I've ever had on Camino. When I was there in 2024, I had just, up on the bar, I had just eaten some callos. Callos is the small intestine of sheep that's cleaned, and it's cooked in tomato and smoked paprika. When it's done properly, it tastes like just pasta and red sauce. It's one of the best, my top two favorite things in all of Spain. And really try it. If you're a little bit afraid of tripe and such, this is a great way to try it. I had just had some of that, and the grandma had brought out a plate of lightly breaded and braised pork tongue, lengua. I had that and vegetables, and just when I got done with that, I was getting ready to pay my bill and go. Grandma brought out this big clay dish, like the one in the picture, of quail, braised quail. Just amazing. They always have a big pot of Spanish snails in kind of a garlicky, spicy wine thing going on. They do such great old school stuff that you don't see anywhere else. It's not, I'm sure in the summer they have pilgrims menus, but it's not one of those places that's really geared to as a generic Americanized palate. It's unapologetic, old Spanish, just awesome. So try it. Again, it's in Navarrete. It's the top of the plaza next to the cathedral. I'm not going to give you the address. Get on Google Maps, look at Navarrete. By the way, Navarrete has one of the best altar pieces on the entire Camino, this little tiny town, because Navarrete at one point was the King of Navarra had a palace there. So the church is pretty awesome. Maybe I'll tell you what, that's what the altar back looks like. I'll give you a little preview right there. So anyway, that's it for this week. Wish I could be more specific, but you're just going to have to work it out. And seriously, if you have questions about this stuff, mention down below or send me an email at askmeacaminoquestion@gmail.com. Their footwear really does make a difference at getting that system right. But I'll tell you, I really think 90% of it is this stuff right here. It's not so much that outer covering that just keeps the gravel and the water and everything else off your feet. It really begins with prepping your skin and having the right socks combo to keep those sheer surfaces from giving you blisters or anything else, and having enough cushion between a good stack shoe, an insole, and a good sock. I mean, you're adding millimeters of material here. That's going to make the fatigue go away, or at least a lot less. So anyway, that's it for this week. Next week, we're going to talk about clothing. And we covered a lot of the clothing stuff in our gear breakdown or our overview. So that's going to be very repetitive. So if you watch that one, you may get kind of tired of the repetition. I get that. And coming up, we're going to be talking about rain gear too. And boy, do I have opinions on rain gear. Guess what? Rain gear doesn't keep you dry. It just keeps you from getting wet. Hopefully. So anyway, that's it for this week. Hello to everybody out there. Hello to our new subscribers. We're almost to 300 subscribers now, which I just find insane. Somebody's paying somebody out there. So anyway, I will see you guys next week. Bye.